project over 100 years in the making brings together two people, both looking to honor their family's lasting legacy.
And for decades, one of the oldest temples in the state has showcased stained glass windows that have brought beauty and inspiration to thousands of New Orleanians. And now the passion of one community is ensuring they'll be enjoyed for generations to come.
Josh Robertson has this special report on Temple Sinai.
This place is my heartstring. It means so much knowing that this spiritual home in New Orleans has touched so many families over the years. It just feels right to be here.
Stepping inside Temple Sinai is like stepping back in time.
This temple was started 152 years ago by a group of New Orleanians who wanted to have a Reform temple in New Orleans.
Founded in 1870, this is the oldest Reform Judaism congregation in the state. It's also been a safe haven used by people of all faiths and backgrounds over the years.
We were able to open our doors way back when and allow integrated meetings to take place here to forward civil rights.
But for board president Ellen Heller-Cohen, it's a second home, thanks to a family lineage with a direct connection to the temple.
Our second rabbi, Rabbi Max Heller, was in the second graduating class of Hebrew Union College. He's my great-grandfather.
Heller-Cohen says that over 100 years ago, Rabbi Max Heller helped commission the stained glass windows still seen at the temple today, depicting the iconic imagery of the Jewish faith.
Our stained glass windows are really without peer. They're absolutely spectacular, and the longer you look, the more you see.
Unfortunately, due to years of wear and tear and Hurricane Ida damage, some of the windows were in desperate need of repair.
But they needed a full renovation. They needed to be cleaned, they needed to be restored, and they need to be protected.
And that's when Nicholas Fry stepped in to help.
We are a stained glass studio, liturgical art studio based out of St. Louis, Missouri.
Because these aren't just any stained glass windows. For Fry, they have a special meaning. His great-great-grandfather, Emil Fry, designed, painted, and installed the original windows in Temple Sinai nearly a century ago. And it was a project he says he was honored to take on.
Especially in New Orleans. We have a long history of working in New Orleans, and so do I. I've been working on restoring my great-great-grandfather's windows in New Orleans for the past 20 years. Nicholas
Fry recently met with temple members to go over his repair work in great detail, people with a personal stake in preserving this temple. Heller-Cohen, whose great-grandfather helped to commission those stained glass windows, was especially touched.
It was just such a powerful meeting. It was electric to me to meet the great-great-grandson of the person who created this, perhaps with my great-grandfather.
We, for many years, were not sure who did the windows. We did not know about Emil Fry, but the history is critical.
Cliff Kern, a fourth-generation member himself, says he knows the history of Temple Sinai better than most, but says this project allowed him to reconnect with these beautiful images and even notice some for the first time.
Noah's Ark, down to the detail of the dove and the olive branch. Who knew that there was a picture of the Garden of Eden?
Heller-Cohen says it's poetic that her and Nicholas Fry's great relatives worked together in this room 100 years ago.
There was no one else. This had to be in their hands. I don't know any other group of people who love the windows as much as we do. It's their heritage as well as ours.
And the hope is their relatives will have a similar conversation about them another century down the road.
I'm 4 generations removed from the fabrication of these windows, but I'm still here to ensure that our great-grandchildren can also admire and treasure these.
Josh Robertson, Fox 8, Local First.
Ellen Heller-Cohen says the preservation of the windows in the sanctuary has been costly and is only possible thanks to donations from congregants in the community. She says half of the windows have been restored and the other half will be fixed this winter.